Okay, welcome to the second video of the Flipped Classroom, talking about the disc and washer method, day one. So today we're going to take what we learned about finding the area between two curves and take it to the next dimension, literally. We're going to rotate that region around an axis to make a three-dimensional solid. This begins to sort of require a very spatial or visual representation of what's going on here. So if you imagine there are different shapes in your day-to-day life that are not standard. I can't find the area or volume of this vase very easily unless you start to cut it into smaller, more standard shapes like cylinders. In fact, you're going to cut it into a cylinder that has a width or a delta x that is so small that it's negligible. We want the limit as that partition, the height of that cylinder goes to 0, which means that the better or the higher number of cylinders I have, the better approximation I get. So you can approximate a sphere this way by making tiny cuts horizontally, because I can find the area or the volume of a cylinder. If you look, this is probably the best picture I could have found on the internet to represent what I'm doing. I basically take the area of this yellow region and I'm going to just turn it around. Literally take it and rotate it around and make a three-dimensional shape. And eventually it will look something like a vase does. It's open up like this. It's made of all those cylinders, like that. You kind of X-ray through there. That's what the shape is going to look like. So for example, if I have this graph of y equals 0.35 x squared minus 0.425 x minus 1.125, and let's say I want to find the area between -2 and +2. Well, of course, I would just integrate the rectangles from -2 to +2 of that entire thing written down like this. And that's just fine and dandy. I could find that area, no problem, what we've been doing for a couple months now. But now let's take it and imagine if I were to take those infinite number of rectangles, okay, and I wanted to rotate them around the x-axis now and make a cylinder. It looks something like this. You have to use your mind to sort of imagine what that would look like. It's going to be this three-dimensional cylinder. Well, obviously, the area of a cylinder, or volume of a cylinder, I keep making that mistake. The volume of a cylinder is the area of the base, which in this case is circle, pi r squared times the height. Well, the height in this case is the delta x. That's how wide the cylinder is. And the radius, of course, is going to be the y values. Whatever the y values on this curve is, that's going to be the radius. Of course, you want to take the limit as those delta x's go to 0. And that ends up being, with a little bit more math, the disk method. The disk method has two different iterations. We can have either horizontal axis of revolution, which means that my axis of revolution, the thing I'm rotating around, is horizontal. This is going to be the more standard situation. A vertical axis of revolution is going to have a function in terms of y's, and it's going to rotate about, say, the y-axis. So when it says vertical axis of revolution, that means that your rectangles are actually horizontal. And when it says horizontal axis of revolution, that means your rectangles are actually vertical. You'll see what I mean as I go through these examples. Find the volume of a solid obtained by rotating the region about the x-axis. So you can imagine that they've already drawn the picture here. I'm going to rotate this golden bar around the x-axis here. And so I'm going to draw sort of a picture here to get you an idea of what that cylinder might look like. And so then it will go all the way around 360 degrees, and the dotted line is kind of going behind the plane of revolution here, if you can imagine that. You're going to get this three-dimensional shape. Well, let's identify what the radius of the cylinder would be. The radius would be whatever the function value of x is, right? The radius of that circle depends on the height of the rectangle that I'm rotating. So the radius, in fact, is f of x. And because it's a horizontal axis of revolution, this makes sense. I have r of x. right? Now the height of that cylinder is going to be a delta x. It's going to be the width on the x-axis. So in other words, it's going to be a dx. So to integrate, it's going to be in terms of x. So to set up this integral, I'm going to use the disk method. The volume of the solid generated by rotating that rectangle around the x-axis is going to be pi times the summation from a to b. It looks like between 0 and 2 on the x-axis is where I'm going. Between 0 and 2, that's the area of the blue region. And it's going to be f of x squared. So 4 minus x squared. And then dx would be that height or width of that cylinder. Now again, for brevity's sake, I only have 15 minutes. I have to integrate this off camera, so just give me a moment. I apologize, I forgot I have to square this thing, so I'm going to square that because it has to be the radius squared. It's a very important thing that I forgot to do. Now I'm going to evaluate the integral. So first I had to expand this factor that was quadratic as such, and then I just used the general power rule of integration and then evaluated that definite integral using the fundamental theorem of calculus. And you can see here that I'm just using math and making common fractions with same denominators, adding them together, and getting this total. And it looks like it's about 53.6.17 units. If you're having trouble visualizing what this thing actually looks like when it's said and done, it's going to be kind of like the base of a lamp. It's going to be this kind of round sort of shape. And then it's going to have this circular base, but it's going to kind of come up and have this, I don't know, it's sort of hard to imagine. It's like a sort of dome-ish looking thing. I don't know if that's even helping at all, but I'll try to be a better artist when I don't have a time limit. So here's number 8 in the section. Find the volume of the solid obtained by revolving the region about the y-axis. So now, instead of going around the x-axis, you'd see that the axis rotation is horizontal. Sorry, axis is vertical, my rotation is horizontal. So now I'm going to have the shape here being rotated this way. Actually, it should be a little bit farther out to get the same radius, right? So there's my cylinder. But now my delta is not going to be delta x, it's going to be delta y. It's the distance on the y-axis there. So that's going to be the height of the cylinder. The radius of the cylinder is going to be whatever the x value is. So in other words, it's going to be r of y or f of y. It matters what the x value is, not what the y value is, but some function in terms of y. Okay, so I need x equals for this one. If I'm going horizontally around a vertical axis of revolution, I need to have a x equals. So I'm going to use the washer method again, and so the volume of this solid formed by rotating is pi times the integral. It looks like on the y-axis now, remember my bounds have to be y values. I'm going from 0 on the y-axis to 4 on the y-axis. And I have to square whatever that function is. And it looks like this is in terms of y. So I must solve for x. First step is to square both sides. I will subtract 16. I will divide by -1. And I will take the square root. Now I only take the positive square root because if I had the negative square root as well, it should be plus or minus here, then I would have the full dome here. So but I only have the positive y values and x values of that. Okay? So I'm going to integrate that function squared, square root of 16 minus y squared squared, which is super convenient, as you can imagine. And dy, I'm integrating with respect to y. Again, I'm going to evaluate off camera. And you can see that my final answer should be about 134.041 cubic units. What's kind of interesting about this, you might recognize this as a quarter circle. And if I rotate it around the y-axis, I'm going to get a half sphere. Kind of like this, where this is the top of the sphere. This is a little bit easier to imagine, hopefully, for you. Now, if I want to find the volume of that using the good old-fashioned formula, it's 4/3 pi times the radius cubed. What's the radius of this sphere? Well, it looks like 4. Now, I should note that this should be times 1/2 because I want half of the full sphere. So the radius looks like 4, so it would be 4/3 times pi times 64. times 1/2. All right, so half of 64 is 32. 32 times 4 is 128 thirds times pi. Notice that you get the same exact area using either the integration or calculus way or the normal way. As I mentioned, I said area, I meant volume. Hopefully you can get over that. I'm going to make that mistake quite a bit, but it is the volume of something. Now let's move on to the next part of the lecture. We have about 5 minutes left. So the Washington method is basically the same thing, but now we're finding area between curves looked at in the last section. Now imagining rotating this rectangle around the x-axis. So you can imagine that there'd be a corresponding rectangle down here. I'm going to try to emulate here. It's not going to be perfect, but you'd imagine that the bottom part would rotate around the x-axis, sort of like so, and the top would rotate farther along the outside to make sort of what looks like a donut, but it's actually going to be a washer. And if you don't know what a washer is, it's the thing that kind of goes between your fastener, like a screw or a bolt, and the surface you're bolting it to. And so if I continued this all the way around, you could see that it's going to make this sort of circular donut shape, but it's basically a wafer. I don't know how else better to put it if you're not a very big tools person. It looks kind of like a wafer with a hole in the middle. So it's like a disc with a hole in the middle. And the way that we reconcile that hole in the middle is you basically have to find the height of this rectangle by taking the outside radius from the axis of rotation, which is going to be called r with a capital R, and the inside radius, which is a lowercase r. And you see that the formula is virtually identical to the disk method, but you now have to subtract the outer radius minus the inner radius. And outer is basically going to be whatever's farther from your axis of rotation. So capital R is farther from the axis. And this one is going to be closer. Actually, I could just do that problem quick just to show you the setup. So in this case, the farther axis of rotation is 5x minus x squared. The closer axis is y equals x. So in this volume problem, the integration, and it has to be between the points of intersection. So since I'm integrating with vertical rectangles and my width or the height is delta x, and my variable is x, so my function is going to be x. So the first one's going to be 5x minus x squared. I have to square that. That's the outer radius, farther from the axis of rotation. This is outer, minus the inner radius squared, and that's going to be just x. And all with respect to x, and my bounds of integration would be from 0 to looks like 4 again. I'm going to evaluate that quick. And there you have it. And of course, this looks kind of messy, but it is just a general integration with a definite integral. It's really convenient that the lower bound is 0, but go ahead and look through that work. You should hopefully be able to follow it. I'm using a calculator to help me out with my calculations and make sure you don't make any mistakes. So we'll move on to the next page. Find the volume of the solid obtained by rotating the region enclosed by the curves y equals the square root of 25x squared and y equals 3 about the x-axis. That's going to be the most important part to realize if I'm rotating around the x-axis or the y-axis, because that's going to tell me whether I'm going to integrate with respect to x or with respect to y. So I have a horizontal axis of rotation. I'm rotating around the x-axis, okay? So that means that if I graph this function, which of course you should recognize is a circle with a radius of 5 from y equals 3 here. So let me draw that line y equals 3. There's the line y equals 3 in green. And the circle is going to start at radius 5. So I'm going to, and it's actually just the top part, so I don't have plus or minus. So you can imagine that's going to be this semicircle here. All right, and so here's the area enclosed, and I have to rotate that around the x-axis. So think about what the outer radius is and the inner radius is. What's capital R? Which one's the capital R? The outer radius is going to be that circle, right? Square root of 25 minus x squared. And the little radius, r of x, is going to be equal to 3. And I'll pause quick to set it up. See that the outer radius squared minus inner radius squared, and then you have to find out where these intersect. So that's where the first function is equal to the second function. So 3 equals the square root of 25 minus x squared. I'll find that quickly with my calculator. The known method makes a right triangle, so I'm going to go from -4 to +4. And that's all the time I have, so we'll talk about this more in class.